And we are back with another episode of the From the Rafters podcast. Sam and I are here recording on Wednesday, July 27th. And there's one giant elephant in the room named Kevin Durant. Obviously, Woj dropping a early morning, late night, he never sleeps Woj bomb saying that the Celtics have emerged as a potential landing spot and they have quote unquote engaged in talks about a potential Durant trade. Then the next morning you see Shams write up an article and tweeted out saying the Celtics actually offered Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and a first, I believe, was the package for Durant. Nets said, no, we want Smart and multiple firsts. And the Celtics were like, no. So that is probably where talk stalled. But before we get to like the specifics, just in general, you see the report saying, okay, these are just old talks. The Nets are just trying to stir things up because the market has gone quiet and no teams are budging on their initial offers. So they threw this out there, letting other teams know, hey, this is the floor. Jaylen Brown is the floor. Improve your offers or we'll probably take this one. And the Celtics, in a report that I saw, probably not very happy about it. Nothing from the Celtics exactly, but there was an executive who talked to Heavy, not me personally, but like other people at Heavy, and I wrote it up, saying that, talk to Sean Devaney at Heavy, saying, you know, Celtics probably aren't too happy about this. Nets are trying to stir the market back up. Leaking old reports is what the assumption is we've seen everywhere. But regardless, you saw that offer. It is probably on the table. That is probably a possibility. What do you make of it? What do you think? I think we've talked about it in the past, but just your thoughts.
Well, it is funny, like you said, Woj doesn't sleep. Like that must have came out like, I don't know, a half hour before I woke up that day.
Right.
Which is not usually how it goes. It was like 2:45.
I was just getting into bed and I hopped back out of bed and I wrote.
Yeah, I was like, well, I guess I have to tweet this. It just came out. So I tweeted. But
yep.
I mean, is there validity to what was reported? Yeah, there definitely was. They've talked about it.
Not to cut you off, but I hate the people on Twitter saying this is crap. It's Woj. It's not crap. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's
they're
false,
making it up,
right? Exactly. Like, come on.
He's not on like Brooklyn's payroll. Shams might be, which is a whole nother story. But Woj is definitely not. He's the one that broke the story. They're not making it up. And if you click the article that he wrote and put out with the thing, it says the talks were no more serious than Phoenix.
Exactly.
Other teams, Miami, I think, was one of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Toronto was definitely
I think
in
was
there.
the other big one. Yeah.
Like they were no more serious than any of the other teams that have been involved. However, they put it out recently, probably to go along with what you said, that Brooklyn wants us out there. They're trying to get teams back interested. They're making it known what the line in the sand is, whatever. But from the Celtics standpoint, I'm not thrilled, just like the Heavy article says that you wrote up, right? Because nobody needs to know that happened. And I personally think that's a lot to give up, and we can get into that. But I don't know. You can roll your eyes or whatever. We
no, that wasn't
think differently. Yeah, man. It's a crazy time to be a fan because this is the dead of summer.
Plenty of news though.
It's great for us because
content.
We would have nothing to talk about today. It would have been bad. But it came out 2 days ago. It's been the talk. It made the newscast at work.
Yeah,
like it's out there. Two big time reporters, the two top reporters for the NBA, are putting it out there. There's some substance to it. Doesn't mean it's happening. Doesn't mean anything is going to happen today or tomorrow. It could, if something does happen, it could take like a month. Who knows? There's probably going to be a waiting game to where it's like, are you going to pull the trigger on this? Is Brooklyn going to come down from their offer? Because in the Shams article, it's put out there that they're looking for, instead of Derek White, Marcus Smart.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Why does this happen?
Sam froze for those listening at home. Sam
leave this.
Sam's audio cut
Verizon is horrible. Linksys is horrible. If you are just signing up, don't get the T-Mobile one because we tried that. That was bad. That was real bad. All right, but as I was saying, Marcus Smart being in there is too much for me for sure. But that's what it seems like Brooklyn's asking price is as of July 27th or when it came out, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what they put out. They said, hey, if you give us this, we'll do it. So, yeah, that's the situation. Mm-hmm. It's quite the time.
And before getting into those specifics, because I wrote an article for Celtics blog saying like it's the quote unquote what else that matters in a Kevin Durant trade, because Brown would have to be in it or else they wouldn't be interested. So at that point, you're talking about what else are you giving up, and that's what's the most important part for Boston. But excuse me, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think I want to give up Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant in general. Like, I think I'd rather keep Brown, Tatum, this core together, all the depth pieces, run it back, keep going. And realistically speaking, at this point, it looks like this deal will probably still be on the table at the trade deadline. So you could go to that point, see how things are going, see if you need a kick, or even next year. Like, Durant's under contract for a while now. You have options. Or if Jaylen Brown magically says, I don't want to be here, which we can talk about later, but I don't want to do it. At the same time, if they do it, I'm not going to be one of those people complaining and bitching and moaning, because the Celtics will have Kevin Durant. And I think Keith Smith made this point, or maybe it was Trevor Lane on the NBA Front Office show, which is great, by the way. Check them out too. Not that if you're here, you probably listen to them too, but they're awesome. Excuse me. Kevin Durant right now is probably better than Jaylen Brown will ever be, right? Realistically speaking. And that may sound harsh, and that's definitely not a knock on Jaylen Brown. That's just a testament to how good KD is. Kevin Durant in this moment, and probably for the next 3 years, is better than Jaylen Brown will ever be in his career. That's just a fact. And I think that's really hard to argue, right? He is a great defender. He is taller. He is longer. He's a much better scorer. He is a better passer. He doesn't turn it over as much. He is the most dominant scorer probably, right? Like, in terms of just pure on the court, able to get a bucket in at least this century. So trading Jaylen Brown for him would be a very clear upgrade in talent. The question lies in, would you rather have a 4-year championship window or a 7-year championship window? And after that, you're also asking, is everybody going to be here for that championship window? So I understand the notion of saying, let's go all in right now. Let's trade 2 rotational pieces for, in my opinion, my personal rankings, the second best player in the world. Get him to pair with Tatum, get him to mentor Tatum. Our good friend Adam Taylor wrote an article saying how Kevin Durant can be Kevin Durant can be what Al Horford was to Robert Williams for Jason Tatum, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a good argument to have too. So I'm not going to complain if they make the trade, but I would rather see this current core grow for A, storyline purposes, and B, the lengthier championship window. So I'm of the mindset of, if it was me, I wouldn't make the trade. But at the same time, I understand that KD is a better player, so I wouldn't complain. And also now, with all these rumors, you have to consider, is Brown going to be happy in Boston? Is he going to sign that extension? And would you have you probably, like, this is harsh, but you probably have a better chance at a title with Kevin Durant. I'm sorry. Like, that's just how it is. You have a better chance of a title with Kevin Durant on this team instead of Derek White and Jaylen Brown combined. That's my opinion, right? I think the only argument behind not doing the deal is the longer championship window, the storyline of having like homegrown guys or team built guys, etc. Even though this is a trade too, it's effectively just the same thing as trading for Derek White. It's just on a much bigger scale. But I would personally not like to see them trade Jaylen, but they would be better because of it. So that's where I stand on the idea of getting Kevin Durant at a baseline. So that's where I said, do you want Kevin Durant, or do you not want them to make the deal? Would you be pissed if they did? Like, what are your thoughts on that side of things? Less so like how much they give up. Do you know what I'm saying?
So right now, I don't want them to do anything. I'm with you on that. This is going to be real boring because we have like the same point of view. So
Yeah.
if they did it, it's not the end of the world. Like, you're not going to be like storming the Auerbach Center with pitchforks and torches and like calling for Brad's head or anything like that. But in my opinion, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It does. Like, all right, fine, you get Kevin Durant, but one, you do shorten the championship window, which I saw some like Knicks fan clowning them for, like caring about a championship window. And Tim had a good reply to it. I forget what he said. Go check out Tim Shields NBA on Twitter if you really care. But also, it's just like, why? And you said you think they have a better chance of winning a championship with Kevin Durant, which is probably true. You just had a damn good chance and you pissed it away.
But nothing's guaranteed. Exactly. Nothing's guaranteed.
You were just there and you should have won. And I will take it to my grave. You should have won that series. You did it to yourself. You were up by 5-6 points in the fourth quarter at one point in game 4, and you missed 7 straight threes, 8 straight threes, and settled and pissed that game away with a chance to go up 3-1, and you're going to blow up the team. You're going to trade 2 core pieces. What kind of sense does that make? This isn't 2K. It's real life. These guys played together. They've played together for years. They've worked. They know how they work as a team. It's not just plug and play. There's chemistry. How do they work with Udoka? Does Kevin Durant come in and work with Udoka well? I don't know. Kevin Durant doesn't really like being criticized. That's why he's always on Twitter, which is great. I love that he's angry. But that's not something he loves. In Ime's style of coaching is, hey, man, stop sucking. And then they're like, all right, cool.
I will say, mostly to play devil's advocate, just because KD has played with Jason Tatum, right? They have a relationship. They've played together. He's also played under Ime Udoka for a year, right? Like, he was an assistant in Brooklyn. He has experience with Udoka. And I forget who said this. Maybe it was Bill Sy of Celtics Blog, but I feel like Kevin Durant, from a personality perspective, would mesh really well with Celtics fans. And that sounds weird.
I like KD. That
exactly.
is not me saying I don't like KD. It's me saying I'm not convinced he's going to be great with Udoka as the coach.
I think he would be, though.
And now that you mentioned like personality, like, he definitely won't get along with the media. And that's just how it is.
I think he'd get along with Udoka because KD doesn't care about opinions unless they matter, right? Like, all he cares about is winning. So he'll care about his teammates' opinion. He'll care about his coach's opinions. He doesn't give a shit what, like, the public thinks. But, like, if Ime Udoka has the balls to challenge KD, which he absolutely would, I think KD would be like, all right, bet I'm going to do this better. So I think the fit of KD on the Celtics, if KD buys in, which I think he would be because of his relationship with Tatum, because of, Al Horford's veteran presence, and if they kept Marcus Smart, which I would hope they would, him as well, I think would be perfect. I think they would be the title favorites by far, et cetera, et cetera.
They already are the title favorites.
Exactly.
They already are.
Exactly.
What do you need to,
exactly.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I think
and I'm arguing against what you're saying.
I know. I think the craziest part about all of this is that whether or not the Celtics make the move, they will be the championship favorites, which is crazy, right? We're talking about the difference of taking the best team in the NBA and taking them up a notch, which I would think KD would do, versus keeping them at the same level, but having that same level for a longer period of time. It is arguing that apples to oranges isn't the right thing. It's like smacking your head against a brick wall and people complaining about the difference from being elite for 5 years versus the best team for 7 years, right? Like it's such a minimal difference in the grand scheme of things, and people are getting very worked up about it because of how big the deal it is. Exactly. Yes.
People involved.
Exactly.
That's what it means when you say it's not 2K. There are people involved. There are people you have grown, not real relationships, like we don't know them, but as fans to a player,
yes,
we care about them. Marcus Smart is a player that is he's polarizing, but pretty much universally loved. The people that don't like him are just real loud. Jaylen Brown, another guy who's been here his whole career. People have come out when these trade talks and his name gets thrown around and said they don't want to see him go. And you see it all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely.
They care about these guys. It takes a championship's a championship at the end of the day, but if you can pick between, if you're going to win it either way, you'd rather have these guys on the team. And is that dumb to say? Maybe, but there's a reason why.
Well, ironically, the perfect example is the Warriors' first title was more fun to watch than them winning it with KD, right? Like, that's the perfect example.
But even then, they didn't have to take out Klay Thompson and Draymond to go get KD.
Yes. Yeah, no, you're right.
I mean, look at what happened to the Nets, right? So the Nets, KD goes there, Kyrie goes there, and they join a team that I believe that year was that team with Russell on it. That was a lot of fun for those fans to watch, and they beat Philly one game in the first round.
Yes.
But they had LeVert on that team. They had Spencer Dinwiddie on that team. They had Jared Allen on that team. They had a lot of promising players on the team, Joe Harris. So they took 3 of those guys and they said, let's go get James Harden. And then we'll be the by far title favorites, which they definitely were betting wise. And they never got past the second round. James Harden left and shot his way out of town. Is KD the same guy as James Harden? No. Are they similar? A little bit. Yeah. They've both shot their way off of teams.
Have they?
Yeah. KD like bounced from the Warriors and pissed those guys off and left.
He didn't play his way out of Golden State.
He didn't play his way out. He left. He left a team that, and there was talk of him and Draymond not getting along. There were things going on with that Warriors team that weren't good because of his mentality, personality, whatever was part of it. So was Draymond. Sure. He's a hard ass too. But why? And even when that trade first happened with Harden, there was skeptics. I mean, obviously you thought it was a really big monumental move towards the betting odds, towards them being favorites.
Yeah.
But I think I came on here and was like, listen, the main thing I think everybody was kind of saying was these guys are all kind of ball dominant. What's going to happen? But you saw how badly it hurt Brooklyn to give up depth. And it sounds dumb to sit here and talk about depth. Oh, who cares? Like, say they had to throw in White, Smart, Brown, and like maybe Pritchard or something like that. Which I don't think is going to be the case.
Yeah. That's a lot.
That even Brown and Smart is a lot to give up. I know you just brought in Brogdon or whatever, but what if he gets hurt? He's only played he's missed a lot of time over the last couple of years. Rob Williams misses a lot of time. Like there are reasons why you need extra guys to be on your team. You can't just kick them away for Durant. And I like Durant. Durant's probably my favorite player that has never played on the Celtics. And I'm like, listen, I'm not over the moon about it. If it happens, it's not the sky is not falling. I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't love how much money he's making. I don't love his age. And, you know, who knows? What if he gets pissed off in 2 years and wants to leave? Then what are you left with?
Jason Tatum.
But Tatum's only got a couple years left on his contract. Then what if he leaves? Like, what does he have? 4 years left right now, Tatum? His extension is just going to kick in?
He's under contract through 2025, 26, yeah.
Okay, so then you have 2 years to impress Tatum, and you're kind of going to be scrambling to be like, hey, your contracts, this is if Durant decides he wants to trade after 2 years and you buckle like a spineless guy and say, okay, fine, do whatever you want. But if you do that, you are forced within 2 years to say, hey, please stay. Look what we're trying to do for you. And you're like fumbling pieces. Look what the Nets are trying to do. Their shit is crumbling right in front of them because of really the Harden move. If they never traded for Harden, they probably would have won or at least been to the finals. Those guys that they gave up in that deal are good players.
I don't think the KD Nets situation is very comparable to the current one. Because we're talking about KD and Kyrie joining a team. Excuse me, I coughed. Joining a team that was the 8th seed, and the Nets had to give up effectively their entire roster for those two guys and then reshape the team around them. And that was the 8th seed versus Kevin Durant joining a team that just went to the NBA finals, and you're giving up, from the sounds of it, the Celtics are willing to give up 2 guys max, one of them being the star and one of them being a depth guard. And the way I think of it, and again, this is just me playing devil's advocate, I would rather them as well not make the trade. I'll emphasize that. Effectively, the way I think about it is last year's team made the finals, right? If they manage to get a deal done that is Brown, Derek White, and say they throw in like an extra first, so it's 2 firsts instead of 1, you're talking about it's the same team as last year, except you have KD instead of Jaylen Brown, and then you have Malcolm Brogdon instead of Derek White. That's effectively what it is. Right. Yeah. And obviously the side argument, well, you could also just have Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Malcolm Brogdon. That's a fair argument.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I mean, like, listen, you should have just won the finals. You should have won. I will say it again. You should have won that series. You did not. You went out and you added depth. You fixed the problem that you kind of had where you didn't really have bench scoring. You didn't have anybody reliable. Now you have it. You have already fixed the one thing that was broken. Did Jaylen Brown have a perfect playoff run? No. But he was still a key part of them getting there. He might have been the best player in the Miami series, might have been the best player in the finals despite the team struggles. Why would you screw with Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown? It just doesn't make sense to me. They've proven that they work.
And we can talk about this now. I don't think you trade Marcus Smart. I think that's where you draw the line.
I agree.
I think that's the line in the sand. I think if the trade package is Brown, Derek White, 2 picks, sure, fine. Like if they're hell bent on doing it, that's as far as I would go. Again, I wouldn't do it in the first place. I'd keep Brown, Derek White, and run it back. But that's the line in the sand. You don't give up Marcus Smart. You sure as hell don't give up Robert Williams. I think Pritchard, Grant Williams should be off the table. Although Pritchard at this point, I wouldn't hate if he was in a deal. Like it wouldn't be that wouldn't be a sky is falling move because you would have 2 more guards. Excuse me, in the rotation. Grant Williams, I guess if you have to, and that's as much as I love him. But again, at that point, you're losing out on the one wing depth player / big man depth player you have. So like that would be tough. And again, I'm going to keep saying this. I don't think they should do the deal. I think they should keep Jaylen. But that's the line in the sand. And I think you agree. Mark, like Derek White, 2 picks, Jaylen Brown. That's the max I think you should offer. And it's probably the best deal in the market. But
the only way I'm doing any kind of deal is if I'm Stevens and I know all these things, is if I know Jaylen Brown is not pleased.
And we can talk about this next. Yes.
Which is not what is being reported. So it doesn't make sense to me to give up a guy that wants to be here, that has been here, that people like, that has shown that he can play, he can be an all-star, to shake things up in a team that just should have won a championship. And they lost because it was their own fault. It wasn't because they really weren't the better team. They got outclassed by Golden State. Grant Williams said it probably best. The Celtics were the better team. Golden State was more disciplined. That's why the Celtics lost. Why are you going to screw with that? You already added to it. You took all these guys that are just sitting there watching games and said, okay, here's Brogdon, put him on the team, signed Gallinari, brought him in for a little bit of extra wing depth. Why are you going to make any more changes? It doesn't make sense. The only way I would say you do this is if Brown's not happy, or if you're real desperate for whatever reason and you think Durant's going to go to some team like Miami and it's going to make things more difficult for you. Like if you're just doing it to play defense, really, because you can. Like it's not 2K. Again, it's real life. These people are important to the culture with the Celtics. They've proven they can play together. They've proven they can win. Why are you screwing with this? If they didn't make the finals last year, this would be a different story. If they didn't get over the hump, they didn't beat Miami. They did, and they kicked away the finals. They did.
No,
there's no disputing that. They kicked it away, and they should have won.
Yeah, and now you see all these conflicting reports. Obviously, Jared Weiss of The Athletic reporting that Brown's camp said he wants to be in Boston. He's happy there. You know, there was a report that came out from WEI, I think, that said, like, oh, Brown.
Oh, that was capped from the beginning. That was capped from the beginning. They were clowning that report on the radio the day it happened. I was out running, and I remember it. Like, Rich on Toucher and Rich was saying, like, it's wiggy. Like, why do you believe this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And he was right.
And then reports from Brown saying, like, yeah, I don't know where that came from. That was weird.
Yeah.
But then you have Sherrod Blakely reporting for Bleacher Report, Sherrod Blakely reporting nothing from Jaylen Brown, but like pieces around, like people around the league, like a scout saying Jaylen won't let this affect his play, but he won't forget it either. And then a coach saying when you give your blood, sweat, and tears, and you see this in the rumors, like it'll make you think twice. Maybe those are other teams posturing, so Jaylen Brown might leave for their team. Possible, right? Always a possibility. But at the same time, if I'm Jaylen Brown and I just had the run I had, and then I hear the report that, you know, they just offered me in a trade, I probably wouldn't be too happy. And at the same time, though, players,
let's call a spade a spade. They're not trading him for, like, I don't know, Zach LaVine.
This is what I was going to say.
Trading him for Durant. Like
Durant's
players
understand.
You said a top 2 guy in the world.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of
Players
flattering if we're being honest. Now, listen,
and
I don't even want to be switched off my shift I work at work. Never mind, like, if I had to go move to another city. So I understand. But, like, I don't know. Like, it's not necessarily an insult. I mean, it's not what you want if you're the person that's involved. But, like...
Well, players understand it's a business, though, right? Like, they understand at the root of it all, it's a business. And like you said, like, he's not being traded for scraps. It's not... I'm trying to think of a good example.
Zach LaVine.
No, not even that example. Like an actual trade. Like I'm not Russell Westbrook being dumped off, including picks. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not mad that a team is dumping me. You are like being postured in a trade for one of the best players of all time, right? That, like you said, there's some sort of flattery. And at the same time, if I'm Jaylen Brown, as much as you're not going to be competing for a championship right away, you'd have your own team, right? Like Brooklyn would be his team. He would be the guy. They would do what they can to put like a playoff team around him. Like there's some draw to that, and you're not playing in a big market. And obviously some players preferred a championship over that, which is, I know, your mentality, but in the grand scheme of the NBA, the idea of having your own team and being the guy is definitely enticing. So like maybe a part of him saying, hey, that would be cool. So I don't think the reports that Brown is like mad, like is something to completely hone in on, saying, oh, everyone, like the Celtics are pissing him off. It's a business. Everyone understands it's a business. Brad Stevens potentially offered him a trade for one of the greatest players of all time. I think Brown will be okay.
No, I think, well, I don't really know how the reports work, right? Like Brooklyn could say that trade was offered and like those players could have been discussed. It doesn't mean it was like an official. I don't know how that works. I'm not a general manager.
Exactly.
But they could have said, discussed. What do you think of Jaylen Brown? And they would say, whatever, you need to add this. And they would say, well, what if we added this? Mm-hmm. It doesn't confirm that. I guess you're right.
Yes.
I think something like that definitely happened. They wouldn't be reporting it. They're not just like making stuff up. That's not how it works. You lose credibility that way. It doesn't happen. But yeah, man, if I'm Jaylen Brown, I'm not thrilled. But I don't think it would be any different if he was on another team. Like I don't think there's any team that wouldn't be like talking about Kevin Durant, right? Like it's not
exactly. And you saw the reports
talking about it. It's not just, oh, the Celtics are a bunch of sleazeballs. And even if you liked that narrative before Ainge was gone, that, Danny would trade anybody and he doesn't care about anybody, whatever, that's what people would say. Then Ainge was a big villain. It's not Ainge anymore. It's Brad Stevens. And Brad Stevens is a guy that's coached you. And you've come into the league as Brad Stevens as your coach. And you've played for him and you've worked with him for years. I don't think Brad Stevens is going to do anybody dirty per se. I mean, could he trade somebody? Oh yeah, he could trade somebody, but it's not going to be done in like.
He traded Kemba the first second he stepped foot in the GM's office, right?
That's
like, I feel like the players understand it's a business, and for Jaylen Brown's name to be mentioned in a trade for, like we keep saying, one of the best players of all time, I don't think he's going to immediately hate the Celtics, right? Maybe there's an instance of, okay, well, what the heck, guys? Like, what are we doing? But I don't think it's going to drastically affect his relationship with the team. I don't think he's going to complain. I don't think he's going to pull a Ben Simmons. And I don't think all these, people on Twitter panicking now and like hating the Celtics. Like I saw somebody say somewhere that was like, I'm not watching a single game next year if they trade for KD. That's stupid. That's just dumb. Right? Like you can be mad that they traded the player you love. And like you said, there's a sentimental thing to it. Like there's the Celtics developed this player. They got to the championship with this player. This is the core I grew up watching. This is the core that I've grown to love. There's that. But at the same time, and even Jared Weiss wrote this in his report, in this business, you don't put sentimental value over winning a championship. That's not how it works. Right? Like that's never how it works. And if you get both, that's the ideal thing. But you look across the league, like trading, signing Kevin Durant and pissing off people for the Warriors, trading DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard and winning a title, right? Trading Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, all these pieces for AD winning a title. This isn't a new concept. This isn't the Celtics blowing up their roster, doing something that's never been done. Trading Al Jefferson for Kevin Durant. For Kevin Garnett, I mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't this new thing that the Celtics are groundbreaking. They're pissing everybody off. This is a business. This is how that business has worked very consistently for the past decade. You can be mad about it. You can be upset that they're trading Jaylen Brown. But I guarantee you, if the Celtics win a title with Kevin Durant and they make the trade, everybody will forget about it. No one will care anymore.
I think the DeRozan one is a great example because to me, it's the same situation.
Yeah.
Except the Kawhi. See, that one's even more risky because he only had 1 year and he did leave.
Exactly.
But you won. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
And if he didn't win, that trade goes down as probably one of the worst ever.
Maybe
Except
not
now
one of
it's
the
one of the
worst.
best.
It just depends how far they get, and who knows? Maybe if they don't win, he doesn't leave. He might have felt like he had something left to prove there. Who knows? It's all a crapshoot once you start getting to hypotheticals.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's funny talking about that kind of situation because morally, it seems incorrect to trade a guy that's been a part of it, or two, if Smart was to be part of the deal, that have been through all of it, right? And you're finally like on the last rung of the ladder and you tag in somebody else, it's kind of messed up. But that's how it works in the NBA. It's, again,
Toronto.
like you said, not a foreign concept unless you're talking about
Exactly.
Canada, but Toronto, I guess it is foreign.
That was a good one.
But yes, yeah, it's so strange. I personally am not about it. And I think when you talked about the fans, that was an interesting part because people are going to be pissed off. They're not going to be thrilled, but it's not going to sting, right? Like you have Kevin Durant back. Like people are going to get over it. People aren't going to not watch games. They're still going to go to the Garden. They're still going to sit in the seats. They're going to buy tickets.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be the end of like people caring about the team.
You could argue ticket sales might go up. Kevin Durant.
They're going to overcharge for tickets regardless.
But
good luck going to a
will want
game
to go
this year. Yeah. Save up for 3 months and go. I was just perusing the internet today and I saw the multi-game pack, whatever they call it. It's like you get like a couple of games or whatever. You have to put $100 payment to even get on the list per ticket. So if you get 2 tickets, it's $200.
Top tier, man. They're up there. But I think the craziest part about it is at this point, since this stuff has been leaked, people are going to be mad regardless. They do nothing. Some people are going to be mad that they didn't get Kevin Durant because
the people that are going to be mad about that are at Patriots training camp today. I don't think there's anybody that is like a diehard fan that I know that is hardcore pushing for this. My
point is, people are going to be. Some people are going to be mad for the reason you said, but the way I see it, Kevin Durant's going to get traded. And if he doesn't get traded to the Celtics, like you mentioned, he's probably going to get traded to the Heat or the Raptors. And the people that they're going to be people who are going to be mad that he's now on a rival. Yeah. Even though the Celtics have the best chance right now to make the deal happen. And again, not saying they should do it, but to sit there and say this trade would ruin the Celtics is ignorant, I think, right? Like it sucks to see Jaylen Brown go. I personally would rather them run it back and keep the same core. But I also believe that they would be a better team right now if they traded for Kevin Durant.
They've geared up to run it back. Like everything they've done so far is said, hey, we're going to run this back. I guess you could argue like getting Brogdon gives them the leeway to trade one of those other guards.
Yeah.
And not like lose a massive chunk. But at the same time, Brogdon is valued so low because he has an injury history. So it wouldn't be smart to put all your eggs in that basket.
And I'll also say this, and I don't think this has really been discussed, and maybe I'll write about it. If the Celtics trade for Kevin Durant right now, it's not like as soon as KD leaves, they're going to be bad. Right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the general
I did not hear a word you said because the internet.
I'll say it again. I feel like the general thought process right now is, and we've talked about this, is it is a 4-year championship window versus a 7-year one or 8-year one, whatever, right? Whatever it is. I don't think the notion that it seems to know like the idea right now is once Kevin Durant leaves, they're going to be bad. They're still going to have Jason Tatum. They're still going to have Robert Williams. This is if it happens. They're still going to have Robert Williams. They'll presumably still have Grant Williams. And at that point, they'll probably have a fuck ton of money to play with. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if they trade Jaylen Brown, once that KD contract is up, they're going to probably have
the Tatum contract will also be up. Don't forget that.
Yes, but even then, they will have the money to bring Tatum back. Presumably, he'll be happy. You'll keep him happy at that point. And also probably a max contract spot, right? At that point?
Yeah, I mean, Durant was max, so you would have it.
And not to get like way too ahead of ourselves, but like that'd be a 2026 free agency. So at that point, you're probably talking around the likes of LaMelo Ball might be a free agent. Anthony Edwards might be a free agent. These people in small markets who might want to leave, excuse me, could be free agents. Like at that point, I'll look at the list real quick. In 2026, we're talking, okay, outside of all these older people, we're talking Donovan Mitchell, free agent, Bam Adebayo, free agent, De'Aaron Fox, free agent, Jaren Jackson, free agent. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you'd be left with a pile of scraps. You'd have a good team with presumably Jason Tatum at the helm and enough money to give him a new secondary star. So if the Celtics make this trade for Kevin Durant, which has been rumored, and they trade Jaylen Brown, it's not like they're going to be left in the dumps afterwards. Like you're talking, hell, maybe Bam Adebayo wants to come to Boston and play with Jason Tatum. Maybe Donovan Mitchell, maybe De'Aaron Fox. Like they would have enough money and probably like if they have been a championship contender with Durant and Tatum in that window, they'll have a good enough backbone and like of roster construction to put a new championship team around Tatum. Like it's not like they're going to be left with scraps. So I don't. And maybe this is me talking myself into the Durant deal at this point, like which I still would rather them see Jaylen Brown purely because I've been a fan of this team and I think it's risky. It's definitely riskier, but it's not like they'd be left with nothing afterwards, right? So,
well, they could be, especially if they give up picks. See, when I think about a deal like this for an older player, and you have to give up a bunch of picks, now he is. Again, probably top 2 in the world, right? Not downplaying that. But those picks are going to be past those 4 years. You are going to have the chance that Durant is no longer on your probably
they already did that.
Probable thing.
They've already traded a pick past those years.
Well, there's more picks. Like they're going to have to trade more picks.
I know, but I'm saying is like
just keep going down the line then, Chief.
Well, they can only go to 2029 and they've already traded 2028. So my point is like,
okay,
I don't
they can
think
trade 27, which is after the Tatum contract is up. I mean, they can't.
They can't trade 2 years in a row.
All right, well, they can do a pick swap for 2027. They'll trade the pick for 29. They can trade the pick after Tatum's contract is up. If you have Durant like retire or whatever, he's not going to probably play past 4 years for the Celtics if they trade for him, and Tatum leaves, you are left with no picks at all. What are you going to do? Why? For some reason, for a guy that is always screaming that I don't care about picks, which is true for the present, I don't really care for him. However, in the lagging, I will care. I'll care because you don't know what's going to happen. You have no idea who's going to be on your team in those years. If you know you can have Jaylen Brown and Derek White or Marcus Smart, who is just on your team that should have won the finals, and you've added Brogdon, why would you give up I
think Sam's lagging here again. Sam might be gone. But I'll let him continue his argument once he comes back from the lag. But we're going to power through here. Are you back? Welcome back, Sam. Hello.
What is the last thing you heard me say? Oh, am I still back? You're frozen. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Hello. I heard you. You were finishing up your argument. I heard like what are you going to have at that point?
You don't know what you're going to have. These picks, you
well,
have no idea what they're going to be. You already know what you have in Jaylen Brown and whoever the guard you have to give up is. I don't know why you would gamble, because that is a underrated part of this discussion. Like nobody's talking about these picks. These picks could end up being top picks. You don't know. You have no idea what's going to happen to your team in those however many years.
I will counter with you don't know what will happen if Jaylen Brown stays either.
You'll still have the damn picks.
Sure, you'll still have that's a fine argument, but at the same time, if you trade for KD, you put yourself in a better position to win a championship now. You give, I mean, again, playing devil's advocate here because I will continue to emphasize that I don't hate Jaylen Brown and I'd rather them keep this team. You give Tatum the flexibility to have input on who his next co-star is, right? Like
Tatum, by the way, said he doesn't care and it's not his decision and he loves his team.
Exactly. Yes. So in theory, if they do make the trade, Tatum will have his own team then say KD retires.
He already has his own team. He's the guy.
No, I know. Tatum is fine either way. My point is, I don't like the notion that they will automatically be bad once KD retires. I think that's stupid.
They could be. You could say they could for everything.
Exactly. They could be with the other one too.
This is the point I'm making. I think either way, whether they do it or they don't, in the short term, they can absolutely win a championship. And I think if they don't do it, well, Vegas thinks they're still the favorites. If they do it, I'm sure they'll be more overwhelming favorites. However, you shorten that window, which we've discussed, to 4 years? So then after those 4 years, you have no safety net. You have no safety net. Not only are you getting ready to get rid of a safety net after 4 years, but you are shortening the window from 7 years, right, to where you would not only have probably still a juggernaut team, but your own picks, which won't really matter in that hypothetical, but you have them.
You could use them to make more moves, though. Yes, I understand.
It doesn't.
I agree.
It doesn't make sense. There is no reason
unless
Brown, he wants to leave and it's known.
Yes.
To do this, you are just like, it's overkill. It's not 2K. That should be the title of this. It's not 2K because it's not.
Yeah, no, I know. The other thing, I mean, this is off topic, but did you listen to that Tatum interview? The videos of it?
No, I did not.
They asked him. They said, if you could play anywhere, where would it be? And he goes, if St. Louis had a team, I'd be there. So if there's ever an expansion team, be
just
prepared.
Another reason why I'm against the expansions, but.
He's gone. And I don't think St. Louis would get a team. I think when the league expands, which it is going to in the next 5 years or so, I think it'll be Seattle, Las Vegas, which will be fire.
Good.
I think I'm
fine.
excited.
As long as it's not St. Louis.
But yeah. I think we're both on the same page of we don't think they should do it, but if they do, they'll still be good. Right? Like,
I mean, if they do it, the sky's not falling yet.
Yeah.
If they don't win a championship and if they do it and they don't win a championship, then all hell freezes over and people are going to be real pissed.
You can say
I think if they win it, well, I don't know about that.
If they had the chance to trade for KD and they don't, and then they don't win a championship, people are going to be mad about the opposite. Like I said, this is an unwinnable situation now that these reports have come out and flooded the scene. I've been playing.
To make it a winnable situation, what you have to do is win.
Exactly.
That's what it is. You win.
You win a championship with either side you decide to take. Yes.
I
agree.
It's just a lot. I mean, we just did 44 minutes on it. And I mean, probably a little less because my internet had to have us take a little breather every once in a while. But I mean, I can't wrap my head around it unless he really hates it here and wants to leave. And people will get a hard on. Oh my God, the Celtics are such slime balls. They did another player dirty. They got rid of him right before they were about to win a championship. He was there the whole time, and they brought in Durant. Oh, people will love that. They'll love that.
Yeah. Anyways, that's all I really had to say on it. I don't know if you had any other subtopics or anything you want to bring up.
Yeah, I can't believe you think jelly donuts are good. And I can't believe you would go out
donuts are so
a Dunkin' Donuts and ask for a jelly donut.
My top donut choice.
The best donut is the blueberry donut.
Wrong.
And then probably the chocolate glazed and then the frosteds.
Nope. Frosted donuts they're up there.
The vanilla frost is the best of the three.
Strawberry frosted.
Strawberry frosted is right behind vanilla, but vanilla is the best.
Jelly donuts the best.
No. I mean, I don't know how much clear view I have to put it. There were donuts brought to the office at work today at ABC 6 in Providence. And the only donut that was left when I went back up there, thinking that there was a chocolate frosted left, much to my horror, was a jelly donut. Because nobody wanted it.
Jelly donut's the best. It's the best. But can we both agree at least that I'll pull it up on YouTube. This is worse than jelly. What the hell is this?
The old-fashioned is a sleeper. I mean, listen, I'm not going to the store and asking them for an old-fashioned, but when it's in those boxes on the table at work, I mean, you take the old-fashioned. Yeah. If I see that in a jelly, I take the old-fashioned.
You're a horrific person. They gave me not only that, but because they felt bad that mine was gone. What the fuck is this?
No, I don't do the donut sticks. You give me the thing with the hole in the middle.
What? They gave me 2 flavorless dough balls.
Why
of
didn't you just ask them
nothingness.
for something else? Like, why didn't you say, like, do you have any
Because I
strawberries?
didn't know. I ordered it on the app. And
just
when
go
I
to
went,
the drive-thru. It's a Dunkin' Donuts.
no.
Just go to the
Listen.
drive-thru.
I understand that, and I'll tell you the reason I do it on the app. I have reasons. Okay, we'll explain it this way. Reason one: if you do it on the app, they are much less likely to mess up your order because they have it in front of you.
About these reasons, Verizon.
Are you lagging? Tell me when you're back. Let me
Yeah,
know when you
I'm
hear
in
me
the
again.
dark with the reasons from Verizon.
Reason one: if you do it on the app, they're much less likely to mess up your order because they have it on a list. Like you put it into an app, you put it there, and they have
that's
it in
where
front of
you're
you.
wrong because you got 2 donuts that you didn't want.
No, that's because they were out of jelly.
But if you're at
That's
the
what they do.
drive-thru, they say, "Hey, we don't have any jelly, sir. What would you like?"
Sure, that's the downside. Sure. Reason two: I'm awkward and I don't like to talk to people, so it's easier for me to just say, "Hey, I have
It's the
a choice."
drive-thru. You talk to a menu. You talk to a menu, and they say, "Hey, can we have your credit card?" And you say, "Yeah, here, man." And
Third
they're like, "All right,
reason-
have a good day." And you say, "Okay, bye." And then
Third
you
and
drive
best
away.
reason, you get rewards and you get free stuff with it.
But when you go to the drive-thru, you can scan your phone. I go to Dunkin' every day, and I don't have the app, which is dumb. But there are people. My mom does it. She takes the phone out. They scan it. I cannot.
And I'll pick stuff up for my mom every once in a while. Like I'll get her a coffee when I go out, and her order is whack, so it's always messed up. So it's easier just to put it in the app.
How do you? I've never had an order at Dunkin'. One time I have had an order at Dunkin'.
You've never had a Dunkin' order messed up?
I also go to Dunkin' at 4 a.m. But I have a
Nah.
single instance where I've had a Dunkin' order messed up.
Every other time I go. Always. Whenever I don't use the app, it's messed up. It's always messed up. And maybe it's just the Dunkins in my town, but even one of them, like half the time when I go to the drive-thru and I don't have the order, they'll say like, "Hey, can you pull forward for us?" And I'll have to wait. I'll go forward and I'll pull, like they'll come out and bring it to me.
What do you do when you get on the app?
They have it ready because it's in their little like shelf thing.
You have
like
to go in?
App orders. No, I go through the drive-thru, but they have it all ready. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so when you go through the drive-thru, you say, "Hey, I ordered on the app," and they say, "Pull up."
Yeah.
How is that different than you having to talk to the screen?
Because I can put in exactly where they can't mishear me. There's very little room for error. It's just easier, and I have free stuff.
You have not yet given me a good reason why you use.
I've given you 3 good reasons.
I have a friend I work with that he gets Chipotle from the same place every day, or not every day, but every time he gets Chipotle, he goes back for more abuse. They never get his order right on the app. It's different than Dunkin'. I get it. They got to put all this stuff in your burrito, and you literally can say, "Okay, I want this one. I want that one." But that's the thing. How are you messing up a Dunkin' order? What are they messing up?
Cream instead of milk. Coffee is wrong.
That? Well, actually, cream. You can know.
They give you a hot coffee instead of an iced coffee, etc. Like back and forth.
Who's that happening to?
Me. It happens to me.
Okay, you're at the window and you say, "Hey," like you go. "This is Dunkin' Donuts, please. What would you like?" "I'd like an iced coffee." You drive up. They give you a styrofoam cup. What do you just take it and leave? You say thank you.
I tell them. But if I say iced coffee on the app, they can read it and they can see it instead of mishearing me. And free rewards. But I mean, I understand you could just scan the thing, but it's easier just to have the rewards and pay for it that way. like in the Dunkin' app, I can put the order in. It says you have a reward. I click it and my price goes down, which is easier. So there is that. And you can also do like the in-store pickup where you just go up and you pick it up, which is also easy. Like Starbucks pickup is elite. Because you order it, they put it to the side for you. You go and pick it up and leave, and that's that.
I don't think I've ever been to a Starbucks.
You've never been to Starbucks?
As an adult man going to get I guess coffee, but I don't really drink coffee unless I'm going in at 4. So the Starbucks isn't open. But like I'm not going to. I will say Starbucks
bacon, egg, and cheese from Starbucks better than Dunkin'.
I get 2 egg and cheese bagels and I crush both of them and I get a large iced coffee.
No bacon?
Nah, when you have it
Dunkin' stinks. The bacon at Dunkin'
you have it like all the time, it becomes no. You can't.
The bacon at Dunkin' is terrible in your defense. What did I get today? I got a bacon, egg, and cheese on a croissant. Croissants at Dunkin' are fire.
See, I like the croissants, but then they get all over you.
They do. But I was sitting at my desk, so I had like a clean place to eat it. I took a gamble on the bacon. It was good today, though. Hash browns at Dunkin' are fire.
McDonald's has the best of the hash browns.
They do. They do. And then I tried to get a jelly donut, but did not get my jelly donut today.
I cannot believe you went out and you asked them to give you a jelly donut.
I do. You want to hear a funny Dunkin' story? Well, less funny, more
comments. What do you like? What's your favorite donut?
Yeah, let us know. I've been in one quote unquote car accident, fender bender, and it was at Dunkin' Donuts. And the funny part about it was I just like ordered my food. This was before I used the app, so I spoke to the drive-thru. And she said something along the lines of, "Okay, pulling up, honey," or "sweetie," or something. I was like, I felt good. I'm like, oh damn, like that was nice. And so I was about to tweet. I think the Celtics played that night. Duncan lady just called me, something was really nice. Celtics are invincible tonight. And I was looking like down at my phone and I thought the car in front of me moved. So I like took my foot off the brake this much. Bump. Fucked. I deleted the tweet. I didn't even send the tweet because I was mad.
I have a story off the air, but I will. I've been in like one real car accident, not like I wasn't hurt, but I'm driving down a main road. There's a 7-Eleven. Now, this is near a light, so it splits into 2 lanes. So I'm coming up. This guy, I'm in the left lane. This guy is coming from the right side. He comes out, does not see me. I am stopped. He pulls out. I lay on the horn. He just continues to drive forward. Hits me right in the nose. Remarkable people that are allowed to drive. You know what I saw today? I don't know if in Massachusetts or wherever the listeners are from, they have cars that are considered antique cars. Now, this means that the car is over 25 years old. They have a special license plate for these cars. It has a old-looking car in the back with the number. This is a truck, a pickup truck, cannot be younger than the 70s, right? It's from at least the 70s.
Yeah.
This dude is hauling a boat with this antique truck. What are you doing?
Love that.
The things people get away with. Oh man, like don't let me start talking about driving. It's dangerous.
Well, this is coming from the guy who thinks buses shouldn't have stop signs, which we don't have.
Well, I don't think there should be any stop signs, but they should all be. No. They should all be yields because I'm more apt to stop at a yield sign. I mean,
well, that's just you being an asshole.
If I'm at an intersection with 4 stop signs, it does not take me. You're supposed to stop for 3 seconds. It does not take me 3 seconds to look everywhere. I go
unless there's cars there, but
yeah, then you have the whole like, oh, who's going first, right?
We have an intersection in my town where it's like I don't even know how to paint the picture here. It's like kind of a 4-way, but like one is going like curved and the other one's kind of straight down. But one side doesn't have stop signs. It's just like only one way.
Well,
so like
on that side.
Well, there's 3 like sides have stop signs and one doesn't. So it's just like a mess. But
there is this is the last thing. There is an intersection at the top of my street near I don't know, the area I live. And there's a like seawall there.
Yeah.
And
a what?
So a seawall like the beach. Like there's rocks and stuff. People
I thought you meant like the letter C a wall. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh no, okay. So what you go through the intersection, you go up this loop, and then there's the beach. Yeah. There is no stop sign at the intersection if you are driving on the main road. Mm-hmm. Everybody stops as if there's a stop sign there.
Yeah, that's the worst.
There is no stop sign. Drive. There are stop signs every other direction a driver.
That's what happens at the one intersection.
Go.
People like stop in the middle, and it's like, what? Like, can we go? You're blocking traffic.
Never vote me into office. I'll never run, but just don't do it because you're going to be driving different, brother.
Yep. Anyways, that's all I got today. Jelly donuts are elite. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, thank you very much for listening or watching, right? Make sure you tell us what donuts you like in the comments.
Jelly.
Jelly. I cannot believe you like jelly donuts. But if you're watching, you're definitely on YouTube, right? Guy Boston or Bannertown climbing the ladder towards 100 subs. The views on the YouTube videos on both channels have been really good lately, so we appreciate that. If you're from our pregame streams on Guy Boston, which you can watch 30 minutes before every game if we can get enough of us, we appreciate you sticking with us. If not, thanks for finding us, right? If you're listening, you're on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your stuff, make sure you follow. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, share. Yeah, that's our show for today. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. No. Make sure you follow at From Rafters Pod on Twitter.
Yes.
where Jack will tweet the pods from once I remind him we're back in that stage again. If you want Jack's articles or any other takes he has, at Jack Simone NBA. And if you want me to see me making fun of Jack and eating jelly donuts, you can follow me at Sam with France NBA. Now that's our show for today, Bob.